You want to know the truth? Most men spend their entire lives trying to stay on a woman's mind. They text constantly. They're always available. They bend over backwards to prove they care. And you know what happens? She forgets about them the second they leave the room. But what if I told you there's a psychological trigger so powerful that once you activate it, she'll think about you first thing in the morning, randomly during her lunch break, and right before she falls asleep? Sounds crazy, right? But by the end of this video, you'll discover why a guy who texts her once every 3 days gets more attention than the one who's always available. And you'll learn the exact method that makes her brain work for you, even when you're not around. I'm about to show you something most men will never understand. And honestly, some of you won't believe it until you try it yourself. So, let's dive in. Why you're forgettable right now. Let me paint a picture you might recognize. You talk to her every day. You respond within minutes. You're the first to like her posts. You ask how her day was. You compliment her. You make sure she knows you're interested. And somehow she barely thinks about you when you're not around. But here's where it gets interesting. And stay with me on this because what I'm about to tell you goes against everything you've been taught. There's a guy she knows who texts her maybe twice a week. He doesn't always respond. He's not constantly available. And she thinks about him more than she thinks about you. Why? What does he know that you don't? Here's what's actually happening. You've become predictable. And the human brain doesn't waste energy thinking about predictable things. Think about it. Do you think about the chair you sit on? The route you drive to work? The background music in a store? No. Because they're constant. They're expected. They require no mental energy. That's what you've become expected. And here's the kicker. Every other guy is doing the exact same thing. Texting her good morning, asking about her day, being available 24/7. You're not standing out. You're blending in with a sea of guys who all think they're being romantic. But the guy she can't stop thinking about, he's doing something that seems almost counterintuitive. And I'm about to reveal exactly what that is. But first, there's something you need to understand about how her brain actually works. Because without this knowledge, nothing I tell you will make sense. The daily thought framework. Before we go further, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button because what I'm about to share completely flips conventional dating advice on its head. And if this resonates, you'll want to catch the next one. Let's continue. Here's what nobody tells you. Her brain has something called the reticular activating system. It's the part that decides what deserves her mental attention and what gets filtered out. And right now, you're getting filtered out. But there's a way to hijack this system to make yourself the thing her brain can't ignore. And it starts with something that will sound absolutely insane. Step 1. Introduce unpredictability. Here's what I mean. Stop being available at the same times. Don't respond immediately to every text. Take 3 hours one day, 30 minutes the next, 5 hours after that. Now you might be thinking, wait, won't that make her lose interest? That's what most guys think, and that's exactly why they fail. Here's the truth. When she knows you'll always respond in 5 minutes, she doesn't think about you. But when she doesn't know when you'll respond, her brain keeps checking, keeps wondering, did he see my message? Is he busy? Is he with someone else? That's you living in her thoughts every single hour. But here's where it gets even more interesting. And this is the part that sounds almost manipulative. But stick with me. Step 2. Create emotional peaks. Most guys are flat. Same energy, same vibe, same conversations every single day. You need highs and lows. Make her laugh until her stomach hurts one day. Have a deep, vulnerable conversation the next, then pull back and be casual. Why does this work? Because her brain creates stronger memories around emotional experiences, and memories create attachment. But here's the controversial part, and some of you will hate me for saying this. Step 3. Leave conversations first. Always. Every single time, end the conversation when it's still good. when she's still enjoying it, when she wants more. Most men talk until the conversation dies, until there's nothing left to say, until she's relieved it's over. You disappear when she's smiling, when she's engaged, when she's thinking, "Wait, why'd he go?" Now, I know what you're thinking. Won't she think I'm rude? Won't she think I'm not interested? And here's the crazy part. The exact opposite happens. Stay with me. I'll explain why in just a moment. But first, there's something even more powerful you need to layer on top of this. Step 4. Build a world she's not part of. Post stories of your life. Adventures, friends, new experiences, things that show you have a full, exciting life. But here's the key, and this is where most guys mess it up completely. Don't include her. Don't tag her. Don't make it about her. When she sees you living an interesting life without her, something psychological happens. Her brain starts asking questions. Could I fit into that? What would it be like to be part of his world? Why isn't he inviting me? And here's the part that sounds almost too calculated, but it works every single time. Step 5. Master the callback. Reference things only you two share. An inside joke, a moment from a conversation you had, a song she mentioned once. Drop these randomly. Not forced, just naturally. That song you told me about came on today. Made me think of you. Now here's what's happening in her brain that she doesn't even realize. Every time she hears that song for the next month, you pop into her head automatically without you doing anything. You've literally programmed her brain to think about you. Sounds impossible. Wait until you hear what comes next. Step 6. Be genuinely busy. Not fake busy. Actually busy with goals, with passions, with ambition. When you text her at 10 p.m. and say, "Just finished a crazy day. How was yours?" She knows you weren't waiting around for her. She knows you have priorities. And here's something that will blow your mind. Women don't think about men who are always available. They think about men who have something else going on, something bigger than just her. But there's a specific way to communicate this without sounding like you're bragging. And I'll tell you exactly how in a second. But first, the most powerful technique of all. Step 7. Strategic reappearance. Go quiet for a couple days. Not forever. Not in anger. Just naturally pull back. Then reappear with energy, with something interesting to say, with a story, with an invitation. "Hey, I just had the wildest experience. You'd actually love this story." Now you might be thinking, this sounds like playing games. But here's what you're missing. That reappearance hits different because she felt the absence, and now she's relieved you're back. Her brain releases a small hit of dopamine, the same chemical that creates addiction. And guess what? She associates that feeling with you. But here's where most men still mess this up. And I need to tell you the one thing you absolutely cannot do if you want this to work. The psychology behind it all. Here's what's really happening beneath the surface. And this is the part that sounds almost unethical. But understanding it is the difference between being forgotten and being unforgettable. You're activating something called the Zeigarnik effect. It's a psychological principle that says our brains obsess over incomplete tasks and unresolved situations. When you leave conversations unfinished, when you create mystery, when you're unpredictable, you become an incomplete puzzle in her mind, and her brain will work overtime trying to solve you. Think about it. Have you ever had a song stuck in your head, or a movie cliffhanger you couldn't stop thinking about? That's the Zeigarnik effect. And you're about to become that for her. Add to that, you're creating intermittent reinforcement. This is the same principle that makes slot machines addictive. The same reason people can't stop checking their phones. When she doesn't know when she'll hear from you next. When she doesn't know which version of you she'll get. When your attention isn't guaranteed, it becomes more valuable. And valuable things occupy mental space. But here's the part that sounds almost too good to be true. And honestly, I wouldn't believe it either if I hadn't seen it work hundreds of times. Finally, you're building emotional investment. Every memory you create, every inside joke, every shared moment, these are deposits in her mind. And the more she's invested, the more she'll think about the return. Now, there's one more element I haven't told you about yet, and it's the difference between her thinking about you occasionally versus thinking about you every single day, multiple times a day. It's called the open loop technique, and it's so powerful that once you use it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Here's how it works. You plant questions in her mind that only you can answer. You start stories you don't finish. You hint at things without revealing everything. Something crazy happened today. I'll tell you about it later. Or I learned something about you today that completely changed how I see you. Or remind me to tell you about the message I got this morning. Her brain cannot let these go unanswered. It's neurologically impossible. She'll think about it until you give her the answer. And every time she thinks about the question, she's thinking about you, the man she can't forget. Here's the beautiful part about all this. When you implement this correctly, it's not manipulation, it's transformation. You're not pretending to be busy. You're actually becoming someone with a full life. You're not faking confidence. You're building it through action. You're not playing games. You're establishing standards and boundaries. And the result, you become the kind of man who naturally occupies a woman's thoughts. Not because you're chasing her, but because you're worth chasing. Listen, I get it. When you really like someone, every instinct tells you to be more present, to prove yourself, to show up constantly. But that's exactly what makes you forgettable. The man she thinks about every day is the one who has something going on. The one who doesn't need her validation. The one who's interesting, unpredictable, and living a life that makes her want to be part of it. Now, I need to tell you something important. This doesn't work if you're doing it from a place of neediness or desperation. She'll sense it immediately. This only works when you're genuinely building a life worth living. When you're actually busy with meaningful things. When you're truly becoming someone worth thinking about. So, here's my challenge to you. For the next 2 weeks, implement this framework. Pull back where you've been too available. Create mystery where you've been too open. Build a life so magnetic that she can't help but think about it. Start with just one technique. Maybe it's leaving conversations first, or going quiet for 2 days, or posting about your life without including her. Watch how she responds. Watch how her energy shifts. Watch how she starts reaching out more and then come back and tell me I was wrong. If this hit home, drop a comment with the word every day so I know you're serious about this. And smash that subscribe button because the next video reveals the 3 texts that make her think about you all night long. You won't want to miss it.